Okay, here we go. It's next morning. I'm going to finish installing that. It's not nothing's. I basically just been going around and prepping everything, putting everything where it needs to be. I got my wrenches to screw things together. I got that's thread compound, T-tape. That I kept saying grout. That I'm gonna go ahead and seal that with grout, and I meant grout because that's some grout I use for my tub, which matched the color for the grout in my truck pretty close. So instead of buying mortar, which you're not gonna see anyways, I don't care if it doesn't match the color at all. The grout, all I'm doing is I want to seal that hole, get rid of there was a big enough hole where I believe mice might have been able to get through. So that's going to seal that up around the pipe, no more open space. I also might mix in a little bit of that. That is hydraulic cement. That sets fast. The grout does not. So baby just made just to give me a little more volume. I got that. Might be to like just lay underneath there and then just shove the grout in and then push the faucet in. But now let's see. I'll show you what I got all set up. I learned some of my narration yesterday might have been confusing. I kept saying valve over and over, and I'm going to say the shut off valve, the shut off there, and then that is my freezeless or my spigot outside. But this is what the setup is I push this through the wall outside, screw that onto it. And I have a mark on that because I want the valve, the shut off, to face like that. And then once it's screwed together, I can put it back through, make my mark, and then now the next step is shut the house off and get this off. But then I'm at my point of no return, and I have to finish it. So nothing, I still got water to the house right now. I filled up 2 5-gallon buckets of water. That one is for any water like to mix my grout up and all that. There's another one in the deep sink over there in case I need to flush my toilet. As you may be noticing that I think I had many steps. Now here the wire hanging here, that there is a reason for that. That might come that'll show in a few steps down the road. But so for my next step, I also noticed that I was walking away from my phone. Maybe one of these days invest in a microphone. I'm still learning how to record. Also, have a good knife. I had such a bad blade in here that I was scraping grout with. It wouldn't even cut tape. Now there you go. I don't want to burn that wire up. That's believe. What is that for? I have no idea what that's for. That might be for my thermostat. Anyways, so I have my gas problem solved. My striker didn't have flint no more. That wasn't helping me, the other striker. And my gas, I found out if I opened that valve all the way, it was cutting it off. So now I got my torch and striker problem done, I hope. So I think I have everything ready to go. Shut the water off. I got to do a few things to drain it down because you get all the water out of this pipe because if it helps cool this off, it makes it very hard to sweat this off, sweat the new one on. You want it dry inside. And if the water starts boiling, it actually messes up your sweat joints. So I may set up a tripod and record me doing this, and hopefully I noticed looking over my videos that there was some stuff that you really weren't seeing very well, but I was hoping to describe it better and all that. Some video I saw, I must not have been recording, and there was a bunch that didn't get recorded and all that, but for the most part, I know making that up came through pretty good. But now you're starting to see what the finished product is, but how I want to make this up, push it in the wall, seal it to the brick, then make my connection. And you also want to make sure when you put this valve in, I tried it to say I don't want to hit the pipe here with the handle. I was going to face it a different way, but I like it I thought it was going to be back further this way, maybe hitting this pipe, but it's not. Right now, as you can see, the way I put it, it's basically, you know, I'm pretty close to where it's going to screw together. So that's where the valve is actually going to be, you know, when it's actually butted up against the wall outside. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so another thing is, hope I'm holding my camera right. I know for some reason I think I can like rotate it in my editing software and get it straightened out. But okay, so now here we go. Valve is off. Almost set my house on fire. You got to be careful with that. That kind of started to go up pretty easily. But so what I'll do is when I sweat that on, just to make sure, I'll put something up here to protect that, because I kind of got to aim that way too. That's the only place in between this and all this, you know. I'm a little cramped here, but that's my easiest way to sweat this all together. So now I pulled the faucet out of the wall. I said by my hole. It's another reason why I didn't want. Actually, you can help me while I'm doing this. There you go. Thanks, guys. Do it this way for this reason. Have to clean those threads out. Yeah, I'll wipe those threads out. Kind of got some dirt. But what it is I just have to go ahead and match. I made a mark on this where it's going to be straight. Made a mark on that. I match them up. Hopefully that valve will be facing the right way when I put it all back in. But then what I'll do is when I push all this back in, I'll have it cut the length. I'll have everything cleaned up. I already got my 90 cleaned up. I'll clean up both my pipes. But then I'll go ahead and, but see, I can't pull the valve through here. Can't, you know, I'd have to sweat the valve and all that all together down there. And as you can see, with it being so cramped, I only wanted to make the simplest of connections, which is just the 90. This was actually working pretty good. Hopefully you can kind of hear me, but here, use some I put Teflon tape on this first. This is kind of just how I make all these joints. Teflon tape doesn't seal, from what I've been told, you know, been taught, but it lubricates. So you get, you know, you're gonna mesh your threads together good on threaded plumbing connections. But what I'll do is, you ain't gotta go nuts with this stuff. Just like maybe dip the brush enough on the end. All you gotta do is get them wet, you know, and just the threads. That's that globbing off. There we go. I mean, that's probably way more than I need, but, and you don't want to like have this all gooped in your, and it's a fresh can. You don't want to use really old nasty stuff, but just, you know, hopefully it's focusing on it. But just get it, you know, the two this is what I meant by bending my pipe. So you know what? Wow. Oh, bummer. Wow, I don't like that. I gotta get a pipe wrench. Alright, well, I'll have to cut this all out of there. So I should have had a rag too. Let me see where my pipe wrench is. Because I got a real good pair channel locks. And there's this brass, like knurled. So now, be careful, don't go too crazy and clamp down on it so hard you crush it. But it's not gonna slip. One more. Okay, I like that. Now I can grab onto my, now by bringing this out like this, I can turn the whole pipe. Right now that valve's just inside over the ductwork probably, and you want to thread it on there good. Make sure it doesn't leak. While I'm doing this, that's what I wanted to, I didn't clarify. The reason I go with emery cloth on all my fittings instead of brushes get dirty. And then you might have dirt in your solder. And then with new emery, buy the emery cloth. The only thing is though now, oh, okay, here we go. Shoot. Okay, here we go. The emery cloth, just keep using new emery cloth and you get nice clean joints. And I'm going to show you kind of why. Now I think wipe this off. Oh yeah. So two things here. So I'll wipe this off. And I'll go ahead and so that my thread joint is not going to leak. I got that sunk in there real good. About almost like 7/8 of the way, more than 3/4 of the way into these threads. I use the emery cloth because if I put this all together and where this is going to be, it would be miserable to do a repair on this. I really need this to leak, not leak the first time. That's why I was doing everything on a bench. So if there was a repair that had to be made, it's got to be in a place where I could do it, up in the ceiling, ideally don't do any repairs. So okay, here we go. We're gonna go now put this in, and then I'll show you what the next step is. All right, I don't know if I was not paying attention and I put my spigot in the wall upside down, but when I went to look at it, my handle was facing the wrong way. It was 180. It was 180 degrees on the other side. Well, then I went and I'll tighten it down just another 180 degrees, and it was in the same place again. And I was just like, really, I hit stop instead of pause on my phone, and I'm like, I had to correct this. I didn't want any distractions. So now I'm in here and I'm facing the right direction, obviously. And then I had to cut, so I put it in, and then finally got my valve to face correctly. And then so now that's where the wire came in. That's going to kind of hold. All I have to do is pull the valve out far enough to go ahead, and then to pull the valve out far enough to pack in the grout, my grout and mortar, the hydraulic cement, whatever, But I'm just going to pull that back far enough until it's touching the valve. And then I know this end is at the, should be at the right elevation. I just push it straight in. I may not have to. So I'm going to prep that joint with flux. I'm going to see if I can get underneath it. Okay. I'm going to have this one fluxed ready to go, and then wait on this one, because I'm going to I'll push it in from outside and then pop it over the top. That'll be the easiest way to go. So what I need to do now is, that was another thing that I didn't narrate very well yesterday, but I did mention, I go, hey, don't clean up your fittings and let them sit. I mean, if you stop, take lunch, no big deal, but I mean, don't clean your fittings up, wait 2, 3, 4 days, and then just go ahead and try to sweat them. Just sitting out, the copper does react with moisture. So I would say I would advise to re-clean them, just sand them a little bit, and then you'll be good. But anyways, and my valve, I don't want to mess with anything right. Well, I guess I could. So now my valve, like I said, it's kind of very well placed. My shut off where, so now I got to figure out a way. I think all I'm going to do is I got some, I'm going to take a wet rag and hang it up on that. Hang it up there. But I mean, if I'm real careful, I'm going to be applying all my heat just to this joint anyways. I should be okay. Now, here's another note. Know where you got a little bit of play. I was a tiny bit short See, this actually came down. I hope that didn't make, okay, so. But I mean, as long as I go ahead and sweat that together, I actually just took this clamp off here. The plate moved back and forth a little bit. That let me, you know, if you don't push it 3, 4, 6 inches, but just like a 1/2 inch back and forth, you know, that's not going to put strain on any other copper piping. Mixing, so I hope I don't miss any of this. But these Chinese food trays, you know, they make real good. Now I'm mixing this up real soupy. You know, it's you know, but I mean, see, it's actually not even really moving, but it's not going to set up real quick. But it's, and like I said, so I'm stuck out of the wall there. Hopefully you can see that. I kind of started mixing and realized I didn't have my camera going, but I'm going to go ahead, just a bunch. I'm going to try to get in on the try to get in on the brick as far as I can. So right underneath, kind of lift up. Shove, shove. Probably could have mixed it a little thicker, but I think I might still be all right. Actually, yeah, it might be a little too thin, but oh, just shot it out. So here, this is what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna thicken this stuff up. Go ahead and get like a thing of, now this stuff's it might make it start, I could add a little water if I need to. Here we go. Now this is good. I like this. This is what I'm going to do. There we go. Kind of like this. Okay. Put this up underneath here. Pack. There we go. Actually, I kind of like that. There we go. Alright. Yeah, alright. There we go. Actually, that look like that. There you go. Now I'd like to get in I'd like to actually to get all the way in, you know, like all the way in on the brick. But most likely I'm only going to get maybe an inch or so. But as long as I'm around that pipe nice and tight, as long as I'm in that pipe nice and tight, and there's not a hole big enough for any critters to get in, I'll actually seal. See, this is good now. I'm getting, and then also the one thing I want to do, it's a little bit important, is now that I've gotten that in around the pipe, you're gonna see it right now. My what's its face. See, now my anchors are touching grout, touching cement, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna pack. I'm actually gonna get these things wet. Yeah, here, shooting this stuff off. Stuff's always, there we go. Here, I'm actually gonna try to start getting, and then just kind of wiggle around. There we go. Now I am set in all the way. Now the only thing is, though, there may be a problem. And here, let me get I'm gonna wipe this off, kind of, so when it sets, maybe I'll see the brick, you know, instead of my patch. But those those plastic anchors, they'll spread once I put the screws all the way in. It's gonna hold really nice. I probably don't even, but I got grout all around that pipe really nice. It's tight now. I mean, even before I foamed the wood beam on the inside, so I'm not even gonna clean my tray up. I'm just gonna throw that away. But here's now the big thing. So since I have, before that starts to set up, which you're watching me now. Before that starts to set up, what I need to do, and I tell you what, let me see what I can do with you here. I don't know where I can put you. Maybe in here. Maybe you'll be able to watch it here. It doesn't fall over. Now, let's see up there. All right, we'll do this. Put you here. If you're still going. Lean back with the drill. Yeah. There you go. I have to, see, I'm way over here. I gotta get that connection made. And then I can kind of leave it alone. So flux. And then I'll go check it outside, make sure I didn't do anything that messed up my grout, my cement, my patch, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But I gotta kind of be, I'm gonna hold this tight, it would be right there. It would have to be right there. Well, I guess it would have to be right there. All right, up. So I'm going to go up so I can get my flux in there real good. And all right, there we go. So now I know, there you go. That joint is in as good as it's going to be. I just have to solder it. But did I do anything by moving that affected? Because everything's in place now. But I had to. Everything's in place, but I had to, you know, you see how I had to pack all that cement in there. Here, see, I might have pushed out a little bit. So I'm going to push in. Okay. I don't know why it came out some. But it'll still, those anchors will they'll spread. It's pretty good. I can, what the, why did that push out like that? You know what I can do? That's what it is. See, actually the reason it's holding me is because of this. I put this in there to hold the pipe. So, okay. Here, I gotta sit you down. That's holding me up just a little bit. Oop. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that, and I'm gonna pull. There we go. Okay, so that should be good. So where's that clamp? All right, I'm gonna have to edit. All right, we're gonna let that cool off for just a bit. I'm gonna put my strap back here. I think I soldered it pretty good. Like I said, I was more worried about this catching fire than I was about this getting overheated, but I think I'm okay. I think my solder joints went pretty good. So now while I'm waiting for this to cool, I mean this is about going to Thailand. Well, I'm a few months away from going, a little less than a few months away from going. I might be having somebody water my lawn while I'm gone. I need to get this fixed. This probably, and it wasn't working. Needed to get it fixed. So, and then now it's like, hey, start on it now, because you wait on it later, then I might be close to getting out of here. Don't want to be worrying about a plumbing job. There you go. That and I don't want to be doing a plumbing job towards don't want to be doing a plumbing job like real close to me going on leaving for a month trip. So now, if my solder joints held pretty good, which I believe they shall. All this is pretty tight. So are we cool enough to the touch? Yeah, I can turn water on. Okay, so think we got any more water here. All right, so now that's off. Let's take a look real quick. I don't see anything leaking. That's tight. Nothing's leaking up there from what I can see. Yep, all right, here, let's get this off here. So I'll let that rinse off my... This stairs thing is getting real old real fast. Okay, that's coming out. Okay. Hey, we got water coming out of there. Didn't have water coming out of there before. That's, if you can hear it like I hear it in my hearing aids, it's okay, so now we got everything shut off except for that, I believe. Hopefully I'll spit all the air out. That's pretty good. Coming out all right. Okay, so it's fixed. There's the water coming out of there. Let's see how this works. There you go. Okay, all we gotta do is shut that off. And then I turn off the water to that spigot. So now here, so go in here. All right, see now, like I said, if that were to leak, if that fitting were to leak, then I would have had a miserable time trying to fix it. Now here's the other one that, now look at that. I'm gonna have to see this in the video if it comes out pretty good. But see, I guess I'm centered in the hole in the brick, but see how bad that hole was? So, but what I'll do is to insulate it, I don't have to worry about it right now because we're in summer. I'm going to shoot that full of that expandable foam. But right now, you don't see any daylight coming out around the brick anymore. That was part of this. And if those anchors work the way I kind of hope the anchors work the way I hope they do, then the plastic anchors and the screws, then, but I am done. I got my water back on and I got my faucet fixed. And man, my shoulder hurts. But that's pretty good. That is the finished product. So I think it's break time for a while, and then I'll start cleaning up a little bit later. I'm not really worried about, I got to get a new torch. I just got to make this note, point this out, because I mean, this is, I'm very, there's a word for it. I'll let you figure it out. But I mean, I was looking, I wiped everything off. I wanted to see, nothing was leaking. Okay, but I was looking at this joint here. I probably should have showed you before I did this. Figured out how to insert a picture about where I felt my sweat joint was a little weak, so I repaired it. See, it's actually a little still high. I just finished my repair. But where you could see the solder on this joint here, there was none before. I mean, you actually kind of saw like the copper pipe going into that 90-degree fitting. And I might have sealed it in back here, but I didn't have solder all the way in this, so I can make one repair. I dumped out the pipes, turned everything off. It took a little bit to heat it up because there must have still been water down here. But I mean, finally, I mean, you know, I actually saw the solder break kind of going around the fitting because I was pointing my heat here. I wanted to come to the heat. But then I added some more solder to it, you know, around this side and the top, and I actually started seeing it come out the bottom here. But now I know I actually have a complete solder joint there. I said, well, I'm finding out that the editing process is pretty difficult unless you got some pretty clean, decent original videos. Some came out okay in the plumbing job. I'm learning. It'll get better, but it just abruptly ended. Didn't want it to do that, so I made this, and then I figured out how to pull a picture out of the video to show you where I had to do my repair. All right, thanks for watching.